Accenture Beauty is back to talk more hair restoration. If you missed the last show, I'm sorry, because you would have learned a whole lot about hair loss, hair restoration, and the wonders of Dr. Mark Berkowitz, who's going to take us through a typical consultation in his office when a new patient comes in and wants to talk about their hair.
So we're going to take a look at a video of a consultation that was performed, and then we'll talk about it and break it down so that the viewers will know exactly what a consultation is like.
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Dr. B. So glad you came in today.
Thank you.
So I've had the procedure, I performed the procedure. What questions do you have for me?
What should I expect from the procedure? Should I expect any pain or discomfort?
You should not have any pain, any discomfort. As a matter of fact, the majority of my patients actually sleep through the procedure. I actually have to wake them up for lunch. So you'll be comfortable. But let's take a look. If you just take this mirror, when you look in the mirror, what is it that you see that you want for me to improve for you?
My overall hairline and where my hair used to be, that kind of challenged with growing hair at this point.
Okay, so we can help you with that. You know, compared to the strip procedure where they make a scar in the back of your head, what I do is I take out one graft at a time, and the area is numb, so you're not going to feel any pain during the procedure. This is the actual machine next to you, and what we do is we basically core out one graft, it's suctioned down, and it's given nutrients throughout so that we're going to get for you 90 to 95% growth afterwards. And I can build great density for you, throughout the area here. What I'd like to do is take a look at the back of your head now, because that's where you get the grafts from. I want to make sure that afterwards it's going to look as dense to anybody's eye, because I don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Sure.
Okay? So this is a densometer. It doesn't hurt at all.
Okay.
And what I'm doing is just looking at the back of your head, and I'm taking a measurement of all the hairs that are there under magnification. And you've got great density back here that we can really build up a beautiful hairline for you. So besides pain, what other questions do you have?
Will I be dealing with any incisions or sutures or
There's no incisions, no scars. There's pinpoint bleeding at most, but nothing that you even need a Band-Aid for. Afterwards, I'm going to put for you basically a wrapping that goes around that you keep on for 24 to 48 hours. Okay. You remove it yourself. I actually give you my phone number. You can reach me at any time throughout the process. I'm there for you.
Okay. Now, what should I expect for the feel of my hair once it starts to grow, and kind of the timing? What should I expect for time? Is how long will it take for it to grow?
So the grafts that I place, they're going to fall asleep usually over the first 1 to 3 months time. Then as they come back in, they're going to feel a little bit prickly as they first come in, just like any other hair would come in any other place on the body. Mm-hmm. And then as they grow, it's going to feel nice and soft and natural, just like the rest of your hair, because it is your hair.
Okay, excellent. Will I be able to cut it? Will it grow back?
Yeah.
Will there be any issues with...
Actually, from 10 days out, I let you go ahead and cut your hair. You can go swimming, you can do anything that you want. Again, compared to that strip procedure where you have downtime, with this procedure, the day after the procedure, I went to see a movie. 2 days later, I was walking around the Somerset Mall, and then back to work 3 days later. So there's really going to be very little downtime for you, and again, no discomfort.
Excellent. When can we get started?
We'll get started tomorrow.
Well, the first thing I noticed was how clean and sterile and state-of-the-art your office is. And that's impressive. Some offices are not nearly as nice as that.
So it's interesting because we did not talk about the video beforehand, and that room is the actual room that we perform the NeoGraft process in. So that room is taken to be sterile. Each day it's wiped down. All of the machinery is cleaned throughout. We only perform one procedure per day in that room, so that we take our time for the process and that it's only that one person that we care for. The other thing that you'll notice in that room was that was the actual NeoGraft machine that was right next to the gentleman. When I was examining him, I was looking at his hair with something called a densometer. And so that's quite important because on an earlier episode, we looked at the Norwood scale,
Correct.
and we looked at the patterns of hair loss, but the amount of density that the person has in the donor area is as important, because I don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. So I don't want to move hair from one area to another if that donor area afterwards looks as if it's less dense.
Like plucked out, like chicken
Right.
that plucks its feathers. Well, question about that is that particular patient looked like he had significant hair loss in a lot of areas.
Correct.
So is he a case where you would start with the front and give him the illusion of a nice hairline when you look at him straight on, and then move your way back? Because there was quite a lot of scalp there.
So he's actually a gentleman that I would first talk to about medical therapy. So doing Propecia, using Rogaine, wearing the capitalist cap and the diode lasers that come from it, having a procedure like Almi where I take his blood, and with the blood I spin it out to get platelets which have growth factor, and I actually take his fat. So I laugh, you want a fat head. So basically the fat has these potential cells within it. You may have heard of stem cells within bone marrow. Well, fat has potential cells in it. And I mix up the fat with the blood.
The blood, and then that causes regrowth in
Regrowth.
those
So-
areas. Okay.
The way I like to think of it is the blood is the fuel and the fat is the kindling. And so by combining these two and then injecting it into the scalp, I can help to recreate hair growth for both men and women.
So is that a case where you would start medically by using the things you mentioned to stimulate the hair and see how much you can get back before you tackle the troubled areas that you have to go in and then transplant? Because some of that you might get some regrowth.
That's correct. And the other thing is, if we go straight to a hair transplant, men are impatient. And so the first thing they look at and they say, I want that hairline from 20, 30 years ago. And on somebody like that gentleman, I can't give him back that hairline with hair behind it, so we create an island of hair.
Yeah,
and that
that's
doesn't-
not good either.
No, that doesn't look very nice. And so he has to have realistic expectations, and that's where I would take out the Norwood scale and show him where I can bring him from, you know, a 4A or a 5 to maybe a 3 or a 2, and not all the way back to where he was at 20 years old.
Well, that brings me to the subject of expectations, because you touched on that, and I think that's with any kind of procedure, whether it's a cosmetic facial procedure or anything else where you're trying to regain your youth or how you looked 5, 10 years ago. How do you deal with people that come in and they expect you to make them look like a picture they brought you from a magazine? Can I have George Clooney's hair? Or
So we spend a lot of time with our clients, and we're not cookie cutters. So meaning basically when I look at somebody, I customize treatments for them. And so we spend a lot of time educating so that they know exactly what we can do for them, what they can afford as well, that makes sense for them, and that will give them the results they're looking for. And if somebody just truly doesn't understand, or they're saying, no, I want to, look exactly like this picture, otherwise, I'm not going to move forward with the procedure, that's fine. They
well, aren't there people that you have had to turn down because you felt that not for any amount of money am I going to be able to please this guy, and it's going to end up that he's going to come back to me anyways and be unhappy?
My staff knows that on a weekly basis, there's at least 2 or 3 people that we say we're not the right doctor or medical spa for.
So they're
them.
not the proper candidate for what they want. Now, you mentioned that you do this 1 patient a day. How many days a week do you devote to that? Since that's your whole day and you have other things that you do, how do you balance your time?
So hair transplantation is a team approach, and I have a fantastic team that work with me. And so with the team approach, I have myself, I have a head technician who's been doing this, hair transplantation for 20 years plus. She's been with me for close to 5 years.
Okay,
and then
that's good.
there are 2 other people there as well. So when somebody's having a hair transplant, the morning of the procedure, they actually will meet with me and we go through the entire plan. And then I will be the one to draw on their hairline, and we'll show that in a little bit.
Okay.
And then I will freeze the area, numb the area before we remove any grafts so they don't have discomfort during the procedure.
So there's no pain involved, basically?
So the freezing itself, I will be honest, does sting a little bit. But we give you medication, and most men and women fall asleep from the medication. But
So is it like almost an IV sedation, but it's not with an IV, but it's something
We
that
do it-
also spaces you out a little bit?
correct, we give it by mouth.
So is it like a Xanax or a Valium or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
like
that?
a Valium and a pain medicine at the same time that you
Like
take.
lidocaine or something that,
And then the lidocaine is injected very much like a dentist would inject
Okay.
into the scalp. And after that, everybody really falls asleep.
so they don't really feel that much during the day. They just kind of sleep all day.
Most people will sleep during the day. We wake them up and then have lunch and then transplant after that. And so
What a fun day.
So the day
That's nice.
is broken up, and so part is done by me, part is done by the team as well. So I'm able to perform the hair transplant while helping other people, but I'm always there throughout.
Okay, so you can take time off and do some injections in another room and come back.
Correct.
Because I know you have a lot of clients with a lot of other needs, and I just wondered how you're able to juggle your time and do so much. So it sounds to me like there's a lot of psychological background that you need to have with each patient so that everybody's different. Some just come in and say, "Doc, do whatever you can. I'll be happy with whatever is better than this." And others, I'm sure, need more talking through the process. They're more nervous about it, or they don't have the finances to do the whole program, which is the medical stuff first, to buy the pills and the Rogaine and the cap. Before you even get to the transplant, there's already an outlay of money.
Right. And so it's a commitment. It's a commitment whether it's for the hair transplant or the medical part as well. Because the medical part you do as long as you want to grow hair. So if you say, I'm done and it's okay if it starts falling out, well then you stop the medical therapy. But if you want to grow hair, it's a commitment to wear the cap, to take the vitamins, to...
Well, how bad do you want it? If you want great hair for the rest of your life, you got to go with the whole program. Now, obviously, I'm going to guess, I don't know this, but I'm assuming that insurance does not cover this because it's a cosmetic procedure.
That's correct. It's purely cosmetic.
Right. No one needs hair to function.
It's a want.
I think insurance should cover things like that because if it makes a person feel better, perform better in their job, and have more confidence, it'd be nice if it was covered, but that's a whole other issue.
That's a whole other
So
issue.
now you have the patient in there. You've discussed with him or her what the process is going to be. Do you have films that you show them or
So-
booklets they can look through?
So online, we have videos of the procedure, and later you'll see actually a video of my own procedure because I had it. You'll see pictures of what I looked like beforehand too. So the first patient in my office that went through this procedure was me.
Someone did it on you, though.
Yeah,
You
my
obviously
team-
can't do it on yourself.
Correct. My
but-
team did it on me. And so it's something that I did not want to go through the strip procedure, which is what people think about when they have a transplant. They think of that strip of skin removed from the back of their head. And I didn't want to be left with a scar. And I'll show a video later showing you the differences between the performance of the procedure that I do versus that procedure.
Now, do we have a tape or a video on how you mark?
Yeah, so
The scalp?
Yeah, so I'd like to show the marking because the marking is part of the artistry in drawing a hairline, especially in somebody whose hairline is receded quite far back. We have to decide on where to place that hairline for them and to make it age appropriate as well, because men will always say they want it lower.
Yeah,
than it
but
can be.
sometimes it isn't natural look. It's like the men that dye their hair Elvis black, thinking that they're going to look 20 again. and they don't. So everything has to be age appropriate. So do we have that we can take a look
Yeah, I
at?
think we have a video of the marking. So
Okay.
what we're looking at, remember before you had, that's the area, men will end up with this island of hair.
Yes.
And so we take a look at where their brow position is compared to where the new hairline is, and we'll draw in. And I let the gentleman take a look in a mirror itself to see the hairline, and we look at it at all different angles before we start. And sometimes this process will take 2 minutes, and sometimes I'm with the gentleman for an hour plus, ladies too, because I want to make sure that when they look at that hairline, it's exactly what they're looking for. And so we'll draw that entire hairline out for them and let them take a look at it, let them digest it, and make sure.
So basically, you follow the lowest point of where they actually have hair and try to take that across without going straight across and looking like a straight
It should
line.
never look like a picket fence.
Right, that's not a
Because-
natural look
So
anyway.
it shouldn't look like a picket fence, nor should it look like palm trees.
Oh, that's the worst. A lot of the old hair transplants back in the day were the plugs where you could see the little plugs. Do people come into with that old transplant and say, fix me or fill it in?
So half of the patients who come to see me are people who have already had a hair transplant, most of them through the old style. And yes, they want to fix that hairline because they look in the mirror and they say, everybody knows I had a hair transplant.
Correct.
And so, when they have that palm tree look, that's because it wasn't 1 or 2 hair follicles placed within an area. There was a grouping. And so these are thicker, larger parcels of hair that are placed, and then they just start right up. When I create a hairline, it starts with single hairs, and it's not a straight line. We go
So
back
it
and
goes
forth.
natural the way hair would normally grow.
That's the whole idea. behind
Because that straight picket fence look is as offensive as a bad toupee. Doesn't look real. It's a dead giveaway. And for men that spend a lot of money, I don't think they're very happy when they come out with the plugs with the little spaces between them all.
Yeah, I think, when it was 20 years ago when they had it done and it was accepted, they were happy. But now they know that there's better treatments, and so they come to see me to fix that hairline.
We'll be back to tell you about more of those better treatments.
If you need a fingerprinting service, A1 Fingerprints is the place to go. A1 Fingerprints specializes in fingerprinting for teachers, students, law enforcement, and more. A1 makes the process so easy and simple you can be in and out in 10 minutes. A1 does walk-ins so appointments aren't necessary. A1 Fingerprints, located in Southfield on Southfield Road. Go to a1fingerprints.com for more information. That's a1fingerprints.com. It's that easy.
Advertising your business these days can be challenging. Traditional radio and TV ads are expensive and, frankly, a bit of a crapshoot. Not to mention, the audience for over-the-air material is shrinking as more and more of us demand to see and hear what we want, when we want. Advertising on new radio media is a solution. With our live streaming programs that are also available on demand, your message is always ready when your customers are ready to watch and listen, all for a fraction of what you'd likely have been paying for other ads. NewRadioMedia.com. Call Buzz Van Houten at 248-939-9999 for more information.
At Murray's Part City, we're known for offering customer service you won't get in any chain store or online. But don't take it from me, just listen to what our customers have to say.
The employees at Murray's are knowledgeable, courteous.
They make you feel like you're at home.
Pick up a can of Seafoam Fuel System treatment for only $6.99 or a 5-quart container of Mobil 1 motor oil for just $28.95. Murray's Part City and Pontiac Trail at Maple Road in Walled Lake.
We've got the parts you need when you need them.
Working for New Year's Times, kinda how I've been living. Feeling all a little deflated, it's kinda how I've been rolling. Going till my steel belt showing, never slowing to rest much. Driving around the streets until they come to detest us.
Okay, we're back, and I think we have some more video to show you that's going to give you more of an idea of what Dr. Berkowitz has been talking about.
Traditional hair restoration, often called strip harvesting, involves a large skin incision on the back of the patient's head to remove a section of the scalp. This section of scalp is used as a source of follicles to be reimplanted in a new location on the patient's scalp that is deficient of hair. As seen in the animation, this incision leaves a permanent linear scar as the two edges of the scalp are joined together with sutures or staples. The NeoGraft procedure, performed at Michigan Hair Restoration, uses the same area of the scalp in the back of the patient's head. We carefully extract individual follicles instead of strip harvesting, and the scalp remains intact. There are no scalpels, sutures, or staples involved, and most importantly, no linear scar. Once we have collected the desired quantity of follicles, we create the implantation sites for the harvested follicles and subsequently implant the follicles, creating a natural hair restoration. The newly implanted follicles will seamlessly regrow hair in the new area, resulting in a natural appearing, more full head of hair. NeoGraft leaves no linear scar, as does traditional strip harvesting. As you can see, the NeoGraft harvest area is undetectable after about 2 weeks. Whether you're just beginning to notice thinning hair or have more extensive hair loss, contact Michigan Hair Restoration to schedule your free consultation. Dr. Berkowitz not only performs the procedure, but has had it himself. Visit us on the web for a special savings toward your NeoGraft hair restoration procedure at www.michiganhairrestoration.com.
Well, that looked pretty interesting. I could see the difference between taking a wide strip, peeling it back. It seems like there'd be a lot of pain in reattaching the top and the lower where that's...
You're cutting through nerves.
Yeah.
And so people will get discomfort after a strip procedure, and then from that cut of the nerves, you can get numbness, and the numbness can last a lifetime afterwards.
So you never feel anything back there. It's always numb.
Yeah.
And as it heals, I'm imagining that it feels very tight back there.
It feels tight. It's a true surgical procedure. There are staples or large stitches that are placed within the area itself. And if the skin is not apposed correctly, it can stretch, and that leaves a scar.
Is that like a keloid where it thickens and widens?
Well, we see keloids more in African American men, and so when an African American man comes in, we look at past scarring that they've had from other procedures, and I can never say 100% that they won't keloid, but that's extremely rare within the
But you
hair.
can't remove hair where those scars were because there was no regrowth where there's a keloid or a scar, correct?
Correct. If somebody's already had a transplant or an injury to an area and has a scar, then that's not an area that I can transplant from. Plus, I stay away from the direct area around it because I don't want that scar to pull further and
be more visible.
And be more visible, yeah. And so, with the strip method, what ends up happening is that strip of skin is basically then placed by a microscope and filleted, if you will, to get out the grafts. And the problem with that is you can harm the surrounding hairs in doing that.
Will they go into shock?
They can go into shock. With the NeoGraft procedure, what ends up happening is we're taking out one graft at a time, and then it's bathed directly. So it gets nutrition right away, it's kept cool.
So it's not as, obviously it's probably not as painful at all.
It's not, most men need no pain medicine after the procedure at all. I mean, I had the procedure, I didn't take anything
Now,
afterwards.
you don't do the strip method, do you?
No, I do not
So
perform the
you
strip
don't
method.
have to deal with that. But when somebody does, don't they need to have those staples or stitches removed?
They do have to have them
So then they
removed.
have to come back again
Yeah.
and go through the pain and discomfort of removing
removal
all
as
that.
well.
And then they're numb and sore probably for a while.
They can be, some can be for a lifetime, but it can take a while for that to heal
Well, this
up.
is a great new system that you're doing because it's not only less painful, but it's more effective. It looks more natural.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we saw them taking the select hairs out of that area,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't necessarily see a lot of bald spots after a couple weeks, would you?
No, with the NeoGraft procedure, the way it's performed, we pixelate when we remove the hair, so we always leave surrounding hair to cover that area. And so later I'll show you a patient that's here, and you can take a look at the back of his head, and you cannot see where the hairs come from, compared to a strip procedure where, do we have the pictures of some stars that had the procedure? If not, we can show them later, but
Okay.
those stars, you can actually see the scar when they're coming out of things like the ocean afterwards.
Or wet
and-
hair where you can see it, or in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're an actor or performer and they're seen from behind in a shot, it probably shows, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so-
Okay, now there you go.
So this gentleman is known to play basketball, and I can't say 100% because I didn't perform it, nor if I did perform it tell you, but he has a scar in the back of his head, and after this scar, he seemed to have more hair in the front of his head. And to leave a scar on the back of this person's head makes no sense at all when he could have had a procedure like NeoGraft. Now,
The interesting thing about that is his a higher line or is it always there? Because I've seen it lower than that.
so I would say it's an appropriate placed scar line for him, but you shouldn't be able to see it on someone. Now, he appears to have had a transplant after this time as well, and I think he had one more in line with the procedure that I performed because there was no additional scar afterwards.
Okay. All right.
And
Well,
then-
it's not a great look. And
n-
you'd think with the amount of money that he makes, he would be able to get the best possible results. And that hair will not grow back where that line is,
That
correct?
will not grow back.
So that he's stuck with that.
Yeah, and there's another star that I think TMZ caught coming out of the ocean, and he, shows this scar. And again, I think he does well for himself, and it's strange that he was talked into a procedure like the strip. So, this
Oh, wow. Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven.
Wow, look at that line. Now that is an obvious line. That's like a Frankenstein line. I mean, oh my goodness. And they put that on TMZ?
I think it was from TMZ where that picture
Now that
came
would
from.
be embarrassing. I mean, not that there's any shame to getting a hair transplant, but that's not a good result.
It's not a good result.
Not a good result. Now, you have people that come into you with a scar like that?
We do. And so the challenge for us is, number one, to remove more hair for them. We have to stay away from that scar line. And so that's one challenge. And the second challenge is, can we reduce that scar line for them? And we can. So we can place hair into that scar line, but it has to have some decent blood flow surrounding it in order for those hairs
Well,
to grow.
once you form scar tissue in an area, isn't it hard to regrow hair through scar tissue?
So you're correct. And again, that's where that ALMI procedure can be used,
Okay.
where I can try to regenerate blood flow to the area. But the other thing I can do is to make little tiny marks within the area, like I'm punching out a hair, even though I'm not really punching out a hair, but I'm taking out scar tissue so you get further contraction within the area.
So that can be corrected if he were to go to
can
the
be
right doctor.
improved, but
look
you-
how it went from here to here. It wasn't just a straight line. It came around.
Yeah.
So he must have either needed a lot of hair in the front, or that doctor was overly zealous because he had a big scar.
Yeah, I
Well,
wasn't there.
What if it wasn't that? What if he, God forbid, we don't know, but what if
Yep.
he had a brain tumor and had to have surgery? I mean, it could have been that, right?
It's possible. Again, I'm just surmising that's...
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree with you, but I'm trying to think of the best case scenario because that doctor should be shot. I wouldn't send anyone to that doctor.
So I believe we have some clips of the hair transplant. Okay, so we'll show some clips after the break. But you know, as far as the hair transplants are concerned, so with the NeoGraft, so we're avoiding the scar, we're avoiding the prolonged downtime for them as well. And with that prolonged downtime that they have from the strip procedure, it's really where they're staying at home. With our procedure, I've had doctors who have operated on other people the following day. I've had people back to work within 2 or 3 days' time and back to their normal activities. And so it's something that gets them back to their lifestyle much faster than what the strip method
Well,
would
that's
do.
for sure a very good side, I would say, benefit of the procedure is that you can go back to work quickly. You have less pain in the incision area because there is no incision. And all the way around, it's a much better, much more today procedure. So we'll be back, and when we come back, we'll be able to look at that tape. So we'll see you in 2 minutes.
Tarno knows doors. We've got garage doors, entry doors, storm doors, custom doors. Tarno knows doors.
Plus, the latest LiftMaster garage door openers and the toughest retractable screens on the market, all by the push of a button. Tarno Doors is celebrating its 50th year anniversary and is the recipient of the 2016 Subcontractor of the Year from the Home Builders Association.
Tarno knows doors. Tarno knows doors.
Maple Lane Golf Club is a 54-hole golfing treasure located in the heart of Sterling Heights. Maple Lane Golf Club offers immaculate greens, a top-flight pro shop, and inexpensive green fees. For convenience, book your tee time online at maplelanegolf.com. Come out and enjoy a great golf experience. Try our 9 and Dine special, 9 holes of golf, and enjoy food and refreshments in the Clubhouse Bistro. That's Maple Lane Golf Club in Sterling Heights. Check us out at maplelanegolf.com.
The brain naturally shrinks as you go older. Now there's research that indicates that the rate of shrinkage increases if you drink alcohol. Your brain volume naturally decreases by about 2% for every decade you live. And in the past, scientists have speculated this rate could be slowed with moderate alcohol intake because it appears to improve your heart function and your blood flow. But now, however, the U.S. researchers have found what they call a significant negative relationship between the amount of alcohol that you consume and your brain volume. A study involving nearly 2,000 men and women found a significant difference in the brain volumes of people who were moderate drinkers and those who were teetotalers. And the association was especially strong in women. So the bottom line, say the experts, is that while moderate alcohol consumption may help your heart and blood flow, it offers no protective effect on your brain volume. With another prescription for your health, I'm Dr. Jim Bragman.
Okay, we're back with Accent Your Beauty. And before we go to that video clip that I promised you from the last segment, I want to introduce our guest, Josh Gartner, who is a patient and friend of Dr. Berkowitz. And we're going to tell your story in a minute. But first, we're going to take a look at a clip that we promised you we were going to show you. And here it is.
Hi, Dr. Berkowitz here, MichiganHairRestoration.com. Today, I'm going to have my own hair transplant done. Why did I pick myself in my center? Because we've got a great procedure. With many of the old-time procedures, there was a strip method, and you'd have an incision that went from ear to ear, and then afterwards there'd be a large scar. With that large scar, you can't wear your hair short, you can have numbness and a long downtime. Well, we avoid all of that, and so what my team's going to do with me today is we're going to basically suction out one hair graft at a time. They come out perfectly uniformed, and then we're going to place them back. And today The whole goal for me is to build up my hairline, the temporal region, and we're going to build back. I'm going to use 2,000 grafts, and I'm going to do great, and I'm going to talk to you later on. Have a great day, and I look forward to speaking to you. Hook up the sky for me. So we're halfway through. The hairs have been taken from the donor site in the back, and now we're getting ready to place them. And Tony's working hard to split up the hairs and get them ready for us. All right, I'll see you in a few hours.
Okay.
Hi, this is Dr. Berkowitz again. Just completed my hair transplant and everything went perfectly. Feeling great. You can take a look and see where all the hair is going to grow in, and that's going to happen over the course of the next year. But we'll keep up to date, and I look forward to showing you my progress. Again, if you're interested in coming and watching and coming into the office and finding out more about the procedure that my staff and I perform, MichiganHairRestoration.com. Procedure. So we're back. So that was my procedure, and I went through it around 4+ years ago, and I did not want to have a strip procedure. So this is where I started with the NeoGraft procedure for myself, and I had 2,000 grafts placed throughout the area here. We can put up my before and after picture.
Yeah, I would like to see that because we saw you before and we're looking at you now,
Right.
but I'd like to see them side by side. I think that's more dramatic.
So we'll take a look at that.
If it's not there, it would...
Well, if it's not there, we'll get back to that. In the meantime, rather than sit around, we see you after, and that's a great result. And sitting next to you, oh, there you go, right there.
So here I am before, and don't show the after.
There we go. What a difference. Wow. Now, how much time elapsed between the first picture and the second picture?
So it takes between 9 and 14 months to get full growth, and this was around 9 months later for me.
Okay. That's not a long time to wait to get a whole new head of hair. I mean, that's like giving birth to a baby 9 months. So, I mean, it's even as good as having a baby because it lasts longer. Babies grow up and they're not
Doesn't talk
babies
back to
anymore.
you.
That's right. Now, Josh, we want to hear about you because I would never know looking at you that you had anything done because you have a beautiful head of hair.
Thank you.
Do we have pictures of how you looked before?
I believe we do.
Well, tell me about it. Why did you decide to go to Dr. Berkowitz? First of all, how did you hear about him?
I believe. So I actually heard about Dr. Berkowitz from a friend of mine who had a hair transplant, and the results were incredible. I'd seen so much of his work online, and you know, I knew for myself that I had to have a hair transplant to grow the hair back that I had lost.
At what age did you start losing your hair?
You know, I feel like I probably started losing my hair maybe like 21, 22. And it was probably about when I was 23 that I actually looked in the mirror and realized, wow, I lost a lot of hair.
And did you feel like you were looking older than your age because of the hair loss?
Absolutely. My first thought was, wow, I look like my father.
That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
They start to look like their father. So you went for your consultation. Take it from there. What did you say when you first met Josh? Did you know you could help him right away?
I knew right away that I could help him. So if you look at Josh, you can see where his loss is in the temporal areas. And so that's where what we call dense pack the hair. What that is I place every graft as close as humanly possible. I need a little bit of skin in between to hold the hairs in place.
Of course.
And so we dense packed for him, and he had tremendous growth, what you see now, but he's being younger. He was one where he had growth right from a get-go. Most people will lose a lot of the hair because the hair kind of falls asleep that we place, and then it's a process of waking it up. But he, followed the medical regimen and just had great growth right away.
You wore your cap.
I did.
And you put on your Rogaine.
Absolutely.
And you did everything you were supposed to do, and look at that hair.
Yes, I did
so
everything.
you must have had very good hair in the back that you took it from, because it's beautiful hair. It's not coarse, stiff hair. Like sometimes the hair in the back is different than the hair up front.
So it's interesting. So when you place hair back, sometimes people will say, it doesn't feel the same, because as it's growing in, it can definitely feel more coarse. But the hair will take on the same aspects of the surrounding hair over time. And so you cannot distinguish by feeling, and I'm sure he'll let you run your fingers through his hair.
Absolutely. I want to feel.
But this is Josh after.
Oh my gosh.
A few months after the procedure, and his
That's
hair
only
just,
a few months. That's
Yeah.
not even 9 months.
No, this was probably around 3 months.
I was gonna say it's about 3 or 4 months. Yeah.
After.
Wow.
So he just had that growth, and I'm jealous of his hair, and
I'm telling you, nobody would ever even think that you had anything done, because it is so natural looking. Now, have you lost any surrounding hair, or is it in a holding pattern for you?
No, I believe now I'm in kind of like a holding pattern state. I'm doing a lot of the medical therapy that Dr. Berkowitz has spoke to me about, and I think that's one of the main reasons I haven't lost any more hair, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's key, because if you just have the transplant, you can get good results, but again, over time, you're going to lose surrounding hair, and so it's the medical therapy that keeps that surrounding hair there. I kind of think of it as this bathtub. We put buckets in for men and women, but they have this leak in the bathtub, and we need to close down that leak, and that's where the medical therapy comes in.
Well, that gives you longer life to your procedure, because you planted these flowers, but you're using fertilizer and you're watering it and you're putting it in the sun. So you're doing everything to keep your garden lush and fresh and no weeds and nothing's falling out.
Exactly.
So you are a total success story. And do you want to discuss cost, so we know
Sure.
what something like that cost?
So a hair transplant can run anywhere from around $5,000 to around $15,000, depending on what we're doing for someone and the number of grafts they need. So it depends upon the number of grafts. It depends upon if they're doing PRP or platelet-rich plasma as well.
Okay.
And you had asked me about things like the cap on an earlier show. And the cap, if they're purchasing that, then we package things for them as well, so they can get the hair transplant with the medical therapy as part of.
So it's
the
like a
whole-
package deal. So you don't
Correct.
have to pay one price for the transplant, another price for the cap, another price for the Rogaine, another price for the pills. It's all in a package.
We can package it together, and we have financing as well. So we have 0% financing available. So it can end up costing the same as a cup of coffee a day, depending on how you finance it.
Now, do your patients go on like a monthly maintenance where after they've paid off their procedure, there's a monthly expense for just the supplements? I mean, obviously, once you buy the cap's yours.
Mhm.
So it's really just the Rogaine and
the supplements,
right.
correct. Mhm.
So what does that cost per month, just ballpark?
I mean, it really varies, I think, from patient to patient. I mean, I pay maybe $80 a month.
So it's
something
less
like
than
that.
$100 a month, which is very affordable, and it maintains what you've got there.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's similar, I would think, to getting any kind of a facial procedure. You want to maintain it, stay out of the sun, use the right creams to maintain what you just spent a lot of money for.
Mhm.
So you're doing a great job, and I'm sure you would recommend it
Absolutely.
to anybody, right?
Absolutely.
Did you have any pain involved with it?
You know, I didn't, to be honest with you. I really anticipated a lot of pain after the procedure, but after probably about 24 hours, I was walking around Target like nothing happened.
Now, did you wear a baseball cap for a while or anything, or you didn't do that at all?
You know, I didn't do that. I'm not shy about it, so you know, I had no shame in telling people what I had done. But you can wear a baseball cap afterwards.
I like what you just said, because that's an interesting thing about any kind of a procedure. I think when you're open about it and you discuss it and you destigmatize it to your friends, you're not fooling anybody. So why not explain what you had done and who did it, and then when they see the results, it becomes an encouragement for them to do it. I feel the same way about any procedures. I don't hide it that I get injections and Botox. You can't say that your hair just grew back miraculously, a whole head of hair overnight in 3 months. So were your friends really impressed with how different you looked?
Absolutely. I had a lot of people in my life that I see on a daily basis that really kind of thought I was crazy for doing it to begin with, because they didn't see what I saw looking in the mirror. And then obviously several months later, showing them my before and after photos, they were blown away at the results. So
now, do you find that a lot of times the person themselves sees what they need, and maybe the other person looking at them says, and I've seen it 100 times with my friends, their husbands say, you don't need anything, you look fine to me. Either they don't want you to look too good, or whatever the reasons are, you don't need it. They don't want to spend the money or whatever.
They want their golf clubs.
There you go. It's, honey, you don't need a thing. You're perfect. When, of course, the women know we do need a little help. So I think it's nice that you noticed it on yourself. We're our own worst critics. We see every pimple, every hair out of place, every line. And so you were smart enough to say, I'm going to do this now, not wait till I go completely bald.
Absolutely.
Now, which number was he on the scale as far as where he was in terms of his hair loss?
So he was more between like a 2 and a 3 in regard to his hair loss.
Now, another question, had he done nothing at all, how bald would he be today?
So he would have continued to recede at this point, and he would probably at this point have lost this entire area over here, and same on the other side. He probably would have receded back here by this time. It's 3 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look how natural it is. Tilt your hair so the camera can see it. Just tilt down a little bit. It's such a full, lush head of hair. It really is beautiful. And so for less than $100 a month, you're maintaining it. And now, do you have a referral program for people that refer other people to you who've had something done?
We do. So, men and women who send other people to us, and the way it usually works is with the products, the maintenance products that we help them out with.
I think that's a wonderful,
thank you.
That's a great encouragement. It motivates you to bring more people in, and you look wonderful, Josh.
Thank you.
Great job, Doc.
Thank you.
We'll be back with our final segment in 2 minutes.
At Murray's Part City, we're known for offering customer service you won't get in any chain store or online. But don't take it from me, just listen to what our customers have to say.
The employees at Murray's are knowledgeable, courteous.
They make you feel like you're at home.
Pick up a can of Seafoam Fuel System treatment for only $6.99 or a 5-quart container of Mobil 1 motor oil for just $28.95. Murray's Part City and Pontiac Trail at Maple Road in Walled Lake.
We've got the parts you need when you need them.
Hi, I'm Art, and we're the crew at Tuffy Walled Lake. We've been in Walled Lake for 20 years, and through our knowledgeable staff and customer satisfaction, we've become quite the cornerstone in our community and to our discerning customers statewide. We know how important your vehicle is to you, and we take pride in our impeccable, affordable service, and we're trying to get you back on the road as quickly and safely as we possibly can. Please stop in and see why everybody comes from all over to get their cars serviced at 784 North Pontiac Trail in Walled Lake.
If you need a fingerprinting service, A1 Fingerprints is the place to go. A1 Fingerprints specializes in fingerprinting for teachers, students, law enforcement, and more. A1 makes the process so easy and simple you can be in and out in 10 minutes. A1 does walk-ins so appointments aren't necessary. A1 Fingerprints, located in Southfield on Southfield Road. Go to a1fingerprints.com for more information. That's a1fingerprints.com. It's that easy.
Want to stay informed, entertained, and enlightened? Get connected and stay connected today to New Radio Media. The New Radio Media app is now available for download in the Apple and Google Play Store. Just search for NRM Streams. for unlimited access to archived, live, new, exciting, and unique content.
Welcome to Geektainment Weekly.
All for free. Do it now. Stay connected.
I hope Josh's results have encouraged everybody watching to say, I'm going to do that, because he looks wonderful. I think we have some more clips to show you, so we're going to cut to those and then we'll come back and discuss them.
If you need a fingerprinting service, A1 Fingerprints is the place to go.
Donor site, and so we're getting the area ready, and we'll remove the hair from that one area for this gentleman. Now, some gentlemen will cut the hair basically all the way down, almost like a crew cut for them, and others want to leave some hair long. If they leave it long enough, it will cover that entire area.
Well, I think, again, that depends on the quality and texture of their hair, whether it's really curly, whether it's straight, whether it's that tighter, kinkier hair that, you know, doesn't cover as much, correct?
That's correct.
So you work with the kind of hair you're working with.
And of course, when women come to us, they're not going to go for a crew cut. And so
Oh,
it's
heck
very
no.
important. It's very important that their hair is at least 4 inches in length. And with that, I can do a procedure called the stealth procedure, where I'm removing hair, and that's where I'm going to take the grafts from. Then I leave an inch of hair, then I lift up, remove some more hair, and then their hair will cover the entire area. And I show them this before we even start, so they can feel comfortable that everything will be covered for them.
And a lot of time with women, it's not the very front, it's more within the hair, right?
Itself.
So you're not doing a whole new hairline, you're filling in.
I'm filling in, and I'd like to fill in from the front, because that gives the illusion of more hair overall.
Correct. Now, do women also use the fiber and to fill in the same as men do?
Men and women do as well. What I'd like to show is one more video, and first, of actually removing the grafts with
Okay,
the
let's
procedure.
see that.
So this is the actual unit, and we're removing one graft at a time. And if you watch, you see we make a little punch, and then we're sucking that graft up, and it's going into the NeoGraft machine where it's being bathed. So it gets the nutrition that it needs. And we're taking one graft at a time.
And each hair gets bathed
each
before
hair
it gets
bathed
replanted.
before it gets reimplanted.
Wow, that's a lot of work. No wonder it takes all day. Now, when you had yours, did you kind of just sleep on and off during the day?
Yeah, I slept, you know, I feel like the majority of it. The day went by so fast for me personally because I was sleeping, but yeah, about halfway through we had lunch, and it's all a little foggy after that.
Foggy's good because you woke up and it was over, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and after lunch, we place the videos. Let's just look at the video. We're going to place the grafts, and so I'll show that.
Okay.
So again, it's one graft at a time, and the grafts look like rice noodles. And it's basically, we're just going to, 1 grain of rice, 1 graft is placed at a time, and this is graphic, and so.
It's not bad. It looks like a tweezer.
Yeah,
Like
that's what it is.
a little tweezer.
And the grafts are placed one at a time, and the insertion, that's part of the artistry as well. So when we're making the insertion points, we're looking at every single surrounding hair as well, or we're looking at the pattern we're building into, because we want it to flow naturally throughout. So
Well,
that's
to me, it looks relatively painless, affordable, and something that men who are, would you say, follicularly challenged? Is that a good term
That's
for
a good
it?
term, men and women.
Right? This is a solution. And personally, I think that men who don't want to go completely bald, who do that sometimes out of necessity, they're losing so much anyways, they figure I might as well shave it. Now we know that there's medical options, there's surgical options, and there's ways to fill in with fibers, and you don't have to be bald. And we're so lucky to have someone like Dr. Berkowitz, who's perfected his craft to the point where anybody can go in with hair loss and come out with hair like Josh.
Right.
Would you like to sum it up for us, Doc?
So in summation, this is a great procedure I've had done for myself. You can see the results that Josh had. You can see somebody older like myself, what true results look like. You can go to the website and see more before and after pictures and more testimonials from patients that are thrilled with the results. And it's something that really can be the difference between somebody who is looking at life at times and saying, you know, I'm looking in the mirror and just not happy.
Like
And-
Josh said, looked in the mirror and just wasn't happy. All right, I think that's tonight's show. I hope everybody has enjoyed it, got something out of it. Would you like to give the website again so they can go to it and look up how to get a hold of you?
So you can go to MichiganHairRestoration.com or DrB4Hair.com, and through that you can see all the work that we do and plenty of videos showing both testimonials as well as the procedure itself.
And would you like to give the phone number for people that want to give you a call?
586-254-7692.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and remember to stay beautiful.